3, 2, 1. Hi, it is Rasslin. Bam! I told you we were going to have Tony Khan on the show. Well, look who it is. It's All Elite Wrestling President Tony Khan. And when you come here, I feel like when you leave, you've gained muscle because of how often you hold your coffee. You just hold your coffee the whole time.
Well, it's
Do you need me? I can get a table.
That's how I work 3 jobs. I drink a lot of coffee.
I guess so, but I can hold it. I got producers that hold it.
Yeah, but then it's I don't want to trouble these guys. They're very nice guys.
Then you're not working out.
Why don't these guys relax and focus on coming to the AEW show this week?
Yeah, you think they'll come to these idiots? Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it is going to be a great show.
Thank you.
Because tonight you're in Newark, and it's a new era of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. Dynamite is on TBS now.
It's a huge move.
Which we've talked before, but I grew up 6:05 Saturday night TBS. I grew up watching wrestling on TBS, going to my grandmother's house, watching TBS, moving the satellite, watching porn. Anyway.
Did you get up for the Power Hour on the weekends?
I did get up for the Power Hour. And WCW Pro, which was not on TBS, but the Power Hour was.
So the Pro, you got syndicated?
Right, Pro was syndicated.
In Champaign, we didn't get the syndicated
You didn't
shows.
get that?
So when I got old, now with YouTube, I like going back and watching all the Worldwides and Pros because we didn't get those in Champaign.
Yeah, Worldwide came on midnight where I was, and then I didn't have cable, I was poor, and I would go to my grandmother's house and I would watch. But now, it's everywhere. TBS is everywhere, and you're on TBS tonight.
Yeah, we're coming back to
From
TBS.
now on, yeah.
Bringing it back to the mothership.
And not only are you on TBS tonight and from now on for Dynamite, you are kicking it off with a hell of a show.
Yes.
You're kicking it off with, listen, we're going to go match by match. We're going to go detail by detail. We're going to dive into some things that have happened around All Elite Wrestling. So I look at it tonight, you got a world title match. And you've got Hangman Adam Page, and I got to say it the right way because you made fun of me the way I said it off air. Hangman Page, right? That's how Jim Ross says it?
Yeah, that's how you say it.
But before we get any further, how fucking awesome was that standing ovation for Jim Ross last week when he came back?
It was awesome.
I mean, that was fantastic.
That's a great wrestling moment.
And you guys could have done that off air, right? You could have done that like 5 minutes before it went off, but that was, I'm glad I got to see it.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, tonight, Dynamite, before we get into the matches, it's a new era on TBS. How's that feel?
It feels great. By the way, it was JR's birthday this week, and just to throw one more to him, happy birthday, JR.
Happy birthday to you, JR. Jim Ross, the great, I'd say the GOAT.
Yeah.
I think he's the greatest.
It's been a long time since JR called a wrestling match on TBS, and tonight is that night. JR is back on TBS tonight.
JR and Tony together on TBS. That feels right.
Yeah,
that feels comfortable, like an old blanket. Tonight, Dynamite on TBS, though, it's a new era for you guys.
It's huge. I can't wait for AEW to bring wrestling back to TBS. It's going to be great every Wednesday night, and it's great for us for many reasons because now the show moves back into primetime on the West Coast. Yeah. Although I think for a lot of people it's going to be more convenient having the show on at 8 p.m. again on the West Coast, and because it had been running live for a long time and it was the early start. So we're back to primetime on the West Coast, which will help. And also with TBS, there'll be less interruptions and time shifts because of sports playoffs. There'll be maybe a couple, but way less. And we also still have this great presence on TNT now every week, Friday nights with Rampage. And if we talk ratings and numbers, I can break down why we've had this great surge on Rampage near year end.
Yeah.
And also, I would have to say, I really, really appreciate you being so generous to have me here to talk about the inaugural Battle of the Belts.
Is that what we're going to talk about?
Well, so many things. I mean, we got all the cards on deck, and this is the biggest week we've ever had. We've had all these, all these matches, and really, it's every championship in AEW on the line this week.
Every time I have you here, it seems like, oh, you got this huge event coming up, or you got this huge week, or you got this huge month. But I mean, my God, you were only here a month ago, but my God, you do have the Battle of the Belts Saturday. That's Cody and Sammy, right, for the TNT title. And then I'm missing something on that one. We'll get back to that. We'll talk about
Dr. Britt Baker versus Riho for the Women's World Championship.
Yes.
And it's a huge week because we're establishing on TBS tonight the first ever TBS champion.
Right.
Will it be Ruby Soho? Will it be Jade Cargill?
I don't know.
It's going to be, well, you're going to come and find out. There's going to be a great champion either way. We have 2 great finalists, and they both worked their way through this awesome tournament. It's been great. And what a great week with coming off the amazing street fight on Rampage. we had on New Year's Eve, which is one of the bloodiest and the most hardcore matches you'll see.
So yeah, the TBS title match is tonight, and let's start with the world title match though, because a couple of weeks ago on free TV, you guys gave away a 60-minute draw, a 60-minute absolute, and I don't like long matches. I don't love 60-minute matches. That match's last 5 minutes were more exciting than any match I can remember. Do you like long matches? You a long match guy?
It depends. It has to be a really good match. I think there's nothing better than a great long match, and sometimes there's nothing worse than a bad long match.
Right, correct. Yeah. But Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page, who will wrestle for the championship tonight, they had that great long match. It was phenomenal, and now you're running it back again pretty fast. What was the decision to do that?
Well, I think the fans deserve the rematch, and again, we aren't going to upcharge them in this case. I think we only do quarterly pay-per-views here, and they're very special, and everybody always feels like they got their money's worth. It was a huge 2021 for us on pay-per-view. We had our 4 biggest pay-per-views of all time, were the 4 pay-per-views we did, and the 2 in particular at the end of the year were the 2 biggest pay-per-views we've ever done, All Out 2021 and Full Gear 2021. Now going into 2022, that's a huge part of our business, and now this slate of TVs, to have all the championships in AEW on the line, 5 championships for the first time ever, because it's the first time there's ever been a 5th champion, because we're going to have a TBS champion established on TBS tonight for the first show ever.
So let's talk about Ruby Soho. She came in at All Out. Jade Cargill, I think she made her wrestling debut the night me and Aria were at Dynamite. It was in the match with Shaquille O'Neal, correct?
Thank you, Shaq, again for doing that.
Oh,
that was awesome.
Incredible.
Shaq's awesome. Thank you, Shaq.
I've never.
Did you see Shaq gave like 1,000 PS5s
Shaq's an incredible
and Xboxes? Yeah. Like for Christmas? What a great man. That was awesome.
Incredible man.
And he's also one of my favorites. He's what a legend. What a great basketball player.
Do you want to? Similarly, would you like to give 3 PS5s in this room?
You know what? How much is a PS5?
I don't know, like $1,000.
Okay, I don't know. You guys are so great to me. I'm sure we can figure something out.
You owe me, and you owe me.
Right. Huh? In exchange, I would just ask, maybe could I get like $1,000 worth of Barstool merchandise?
Have you seen our merchandise? It's cheap. That's like, you're talking about like 200 shirts. Yes, done. Trade.
All right,
Bam.
We'll figure it out. Well,
anyway,
it's going to be an even situation. Thanks.
Yes, well, probably not. We'll figure out a way to cheat you. Anyway, so tonight, real talk, as a fan, I'm just a nerd for this Hangman Page, Bryan Danielson, because when you brought Bryan Danielson in, I knew he was a great wrestler. I knew he was an awesome wrestler. But he goes 30 minutes draw with Kenny Omega at Arthur Ashe, and then he has the incredible 60-minute draw at Winter is Coming.
Yeah.
And now tonight we get to see what's up next for Bryan. Every time he gets in the ring, it's an event, Bryan Danielson, for me.
Absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially now as the #1 contender to the title, coming off, as you said, 2 of the most exciting wrestling matches, like not just of the 2021, but in recent memory. His match with Kenny Omega at Grand Slam here in New York.
Right.
And what an incredible match at Winter is Coming in the Dallas area with the Hangman. And now for them to run it back and have this rematch here on the debut of the TBS Dynamite tonight, it's huge because, like you said, for JR to be back and JR and Tony to be calling this match and all the title matches, the first ever TBS title match, which is huge for us, and also to have such a crazy tag team title match. We've been waiting so long for the #1 contenders, the Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, to take on Phoenix and Penta El Zero Miedo. I think that's going to be also a sleeper match of the night when you think about Danielson and Hangman being on the slate, the TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Ruby Soho, plus all the action. And it's such a packed show for our debut on TBS, and it's really just the start of the biggest week of shows we've ever done.
How often on Dynamite have you had 3 title matches? Probably not many. Is this?
Maybe it would be rarely, and for a long time, to your point, it hasn't happened often. I guess that's a good point.
But you also have Rampage coming up, and then of course the Battle of the Belts. Can you explain the Battle of the Belts to me, like on 5? I know, it's going to be this new, I don't know about rotating specials or once. I don't know how often you're going to do them. Quarter. Oh, okay. So
Saturday night quarterly special. Saturday night fight nights in prime time.
Will they all be an hour long?
Yeah, they'll all be an hour.
Okay.
They're 8 p.m. it's a lot of fun. And it was something that, along with the move to TBS, I was talking to TNT, and we had something really great going with TNT in addition to TBS. And they love Rampage. Rampage has been such a hit, and it's exceeded all expectations and had a great lift of ratings towards the end of the year, too, thanks to some great wrestlers and some great wrestling. And now Rampage is still on TNT Friday nights, and now Battle of the Belts is quarterly on TNT, first Battle of the Belts show.
Speaking of Rampage, I thought that street fight match the other night between the ladies was incredible. It was an incredible match. Fantastic. I don't know what makes them do the things they do. It was something else.
Well, it had been a long time coming. I mean, there's a lot of story, and they worked their ass off for months. I mean, that story goes back to really earlier in the year, and through the summer they had issues going into All Out, and at All Out they ended up being in the Casino Battle Royale match, which was such a tremendous match, and like there was really a pleasure to work on. And then have that story, and so many stories came together in that match, by the way, by design. And coming out of that match, when you look how many how many great wrestlers there were in it, and to have Ruby Soho then be the Joker and make her debut there, and now Ruby Soho to be in line with Jade, who has also made a great run in that match and was very dominant. But also, of course, had what a great street fight with Ty Conti and Anna Jay versus the Bunny and Penelope Ford. And, they had, of course, matches on huge cards, such as Grand Slam, and lots of matches through Dynamite and Rampage through Q3 and Q4. So it's been great. And now it's the first time there's ever been, like I said, 5 championships on the line in a week, because we've never had 5 championships till now.
Let's talk as if we're talking to fans or people out there who haven't given AEW the shot yet, who haven't flipped over, who haven't. I remember when I watched you guys' debut episode in October 2019, that's when I fell in love with the product, because I hadn't watched your shows previously. I hadn't watched the whatever.
Pay-per-views,
yeah,
Double or Nothing and All Out.
Thank you very much. I hadn't watched those. I did not watch those. And when you debuted in 2019, I was like, okay, I'm hooked. I'm good. I'm ready. What if there's people out there like me, big wrestling fans, who haven't dove in yet? This feels like the perfect opportunity. You got a gigantic Dynamite tonight in Newark. You have a gigantic Rampage Friday, and then you have the Battle of the Belts from the Bojangles Center in Charlotte, which Bojangles is my favorite fast food chicken restaurant. What's your favorite fast food chicken restaurant?
I guess it'd be hard to say. I don't know if I don't want to offend any potential sponsors.
It's true, me either. I probably shouldn't. Not that anybody's going to sponsor this show, but maybe they would. Okay, my producer said no. Okay, he's an asshole. I don't like him. Anyway, huge week. What about the people who watch wrestling but haven't watched Dynamite yet, or haven't watched Rampage, or haven't watched AEW? How do you get those people to fall in love with the product this week?
Well, I think the wrestling and the quality of the wrestlers and the storytelling that we collaborate on, and it's great to have such a strong crew. And working with them, they get to express themselves. We don't script the promos here, so people get to really express themselves, and we get to work together to put a great story together, have these great matches, and what ass-kicking physicality and the athleticism, but it's so amazing, the kind of action you're going to get in 1 week of wrestling with all these championship matches, to have 3 titles. Like you said, how many in almost 120 episodes, over 115 episodes of Dynamite now, going back over 2 years. Very rarely have there ever been 3 titles on the line, and to have the establishment of the TBS Championship on the first TBS show, and to do a rematch of Hangman versus Danielson, it's unprecedented. And then to have the #1 contenders, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, wrestling the Lucha Brothers, 2 of the top tag teams in wrestling right now, and probably for the future. That's going to be a great match. But also, on the first Battle of the Belts show, first of all, you're going to have the match that started Dynamite to begin with.
Cody against Sammy.
Sammy. Cody's the TNT champion now. So much has happened in 2 years.
Right.
Because just a bit over 2 years ago, we debuted. And, of course, the first match, Cody versus Sammy, and Cody won that match, but it didn't stop there.
Right.
And really, when Sammy went from there, rose to be a star. Mm-hmm. Cody had a great run at two reigns as TNT champion.
Right.
And then Sammy, one of the huge upsets. We saw Fuego get pitched off the deck in Arthur Ashe Stadium here in New York, and Sammy forced to watch it, and he rallied as a huge underdog and upset Miro, the most dominant TNT champion since the late, great Mr. Brody Lee, who, of course, since the last time I saw you, not only do we celebrate the date that we last celebrated him, because that was a New Year's weekend, that was December 30th, and we did that tribute show to him, and then he, of course, passed Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. And, think about him a lot at this time. But Miro is certainly the most dominant champion since then, and probably second most ever. And I think with Miro, with Sammy pulling off such a huge win, then he's made so many great defenses since then, had great title matches. And on Christmas night, to get beaten Cody to come back and now go 2-0 back where it all began and make all that progress and then lose all that progress in one night. And Sammy, rallied back. So that's going to be huge.
How have we not talked about Hook yet?
Well, I'll tell you this. You want to know something?
No, yeah. Tell me.
I'll break some news here.
You're going to break some news here on this show?
Yeah.
This show's terrible, right?
Well, I think you'll see Hook again sooner than later.
So you just teased breaking news.
Yeah, but I'll break some more real news later.
We got some more news on the show.
I have some news on the show.
Well, I can't wait to break the news. But Hook?
Yeah.
That guy. Whew.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Woo.
He's awesome. What a well-trained professional wrestler.
You talking about me? Oh, him.
Yeah. I mean, Taz has done an amazing job on him, and he's had great training. He's been down at the Nightmare Factory.
He's practically a father to him.
QT and Cody, when they were training together, had done really well on him. And since they split, Taz has taken over all of his training since that. And Taz has done a phenomenal job, really added a mean streak to him, and a few other professional wrestlers in the Northeast area have contributed. A lot of people. I've really enjoyed working with Hook. He's a tremendous professional. He doesn't really talk to many people.
Right.
But
he's cold-hearted.
I'm one of the very few people who's heard him talk. So he doesn't say much.
Does he have a good voice?
He's what a wonderful person he is. And Taz has really done something amazing. My dad marveled when he met Hook because, my dad took me to the ECW arena when I was a kid. And when I was 13 years old, my dad was there in Philly with me, and my dad saw Taz, and I was wearing a big orange Taz shirt the whole weekend. Well, not the whole weekend, Saturday. I had a Darth Vader shirt on Friday. I had a black Darth Vader shirt on. But the Saturday, I had an orange Taz shirt. And I got to tell you, my dad was like so impressed, and he said to Hook, your dad's a tough guy. Like, I was in this place, and that place was no joke, and he was like the king of that place. And like both Taz and Hook were so proud, and then my dad put together that he wasn't even like conceived yet in 1996. So like, I was like, man, that really takes me back. But that was awesome.
So
anyway, it's a huge week, and Hook is just a huge star on the horizon.
Yeah, he really, really is. I think you got several. Like, we haven't talked. It was a month ago, and you have so many debuts, and y'all got so many big shows, and you do so many things. Like, there's things that happened in the last month that are like old news now that we haven't talked about. Like Kyle O'Reilly, I'm such a big Kyle O'Reilly mark. I love Kyle O'Reilly, and I love what you guys did when you brought him in last week, and you immediately started kind of picking up a feud between, or so some heat between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly that had been on TV before.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would ignore that. A lot of people would say, let's no. But you guys, you guys treating the audience well with respect by saying, we know that you know here.
Sure.
So that was a conscious decision, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What went into that?
They didn't want to, they still have issues.
Right.
So when he came in, I want them, obviously it's a proven act. We have done great numbers. The only time in the demo, in the Wednesday Night War, which, somebody told me, and it's good advice, maybe we should make our own documentary of the Wednesday Night War. I feel like they would that's like a one-sided documentary. I think it's a really good idea. No, not revisionist.
Actually, you wouldn't have to revise.
No,
you're right.
No, it'd be like we could call it like whatever it was, like 76-1 or 75-1. The one in 75, 76-1 involved Adam Cole in a huge match, and in most of the good quarters and good number, I thought he was such an important part of it. But also, you can't overlook, like as you said, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish.
Right.
And when Bobby Fish came in, It made total sense. Like, what are we not going to put Bobby Fish and Adam Cole back together?
Right.
Adam Cole's with the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
So how does that work? And they had a great match, an 8-man tag that was tremendous against the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy. And Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends versus them really helped a surge for Rampage, because if you study the numbers and look, they had the biggest match we've had there in a long time.
Really?
And we did a big number, and we were up like 29% week over week. And then the next week, we came back on Christmas, and we were up another 9% with the Cody winning the TNT title from Sammy, the rematch on Battle of the Belts Saturday night.
So you have, we've talked about all these title matches, 5 title matches this week. Dynamite now on TBS, big Rampage coming up, Battle of the Belts Saturday night. All of this is great, but it wouldn't be possible if you guys, and not just you, but you guys, AEW, if you hadn't built a great roster, if you hadn't built a full roster, a deep roster of great wrestlers of every creed and code. You've got wrestlers across the board. When you talk about roster building, what's important to you?
Well, I mean, there's a number of things. There's in-ring ability. There's professionalism, I think, is very important, and that's number one. The first word in professional wrestler is professional. And I think there's also in-ring ability, charisma, promos, and looking for a combination of these. And if somebody has some more than others, you can work around it to some extent, but you need them all. But I think largely, again, the first word in professional wrestler is professionalism. And then wrestling is also. So I think professional and wrestling, which wrestling's a lot of things. It's being a professional above all else. It's in-ring work. It's charisma, promos, and it could be a number of things. There's a lot of factors that go into being a great professional wrestler or a good professional wrestler or whatever level professional wrestler. I think it's really more competitive than ever because we've built such a strong roster now that it's competitive for spots.
You're staring at a map and you're telling me that you're going to break some news. I don't know what that means. You keep winking at me. I don't know. So let's break some news.
So Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa have had a great rivalry, and it began before it ended at the St. Patrick's Day Slam in one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen on television. And what a great story. It was a pleasure working with Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. We built something amazing from start to finish, and it began it began before the first match, but the first match, the first time they got in the ring, where Britt yanked the turnbuckle off, gave her the flatliner into the buckle, and stole the win ahead of their lights out match at the St. Patrick's Day Slam. The first time they wrestled was at Beach Break.
Beach Break.
So I'm going to announce the location of Beach Break, and it could be a fun visual exercise if we do it on the map.
We'll do it on the map. We'll turn the camera towards the map. There's a map right there, gigantic map. Hey, isn't that convenient?
Yeah.
That's all the NFL cities.
Well, it's great. There. I see it, and I'm well aware because I'm in the NFL.
Really, which one?
Do you want to? So
I don't know.
Where?
You want to do it like a weatherman?
Yeah. Should I do it like I don't want to block the whole map. So where on this map would you guess?
Okay. The Beach Break is going to be?
Beach Break is going to be for 2022.
Okay.
Yeah. Where will AEW Dynamite and the first ever AEW Rampage Beach Break? We'll have AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage Beach Break. Where's it going to be? You guess on this map. There's no stakes. It's low stakes. I mean, for fun. No. It's not. No, it's probably not the first place many people think of when they think of beaches, but there's great beaches there. No, it's a great beach town people don't think of. They have great beaches. The beach is literally minutes from the arena. It's like you could walk to the beach from the arena. Nope.
Panama City.
No. It's an NFL city. It's one of the cities on the map.
Well, it's Jacksonville, obviously.
No, the original was in Jacksonville. That is where Britt stole that first win against Thunder Rosa.
This doesn't
before the
make
lights
sense.
out match.
There's not that many NFL cities on a beach, Tony. There's. Are we going out here?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. But we are going there in 2022. That's one of the big things for 2022 is, of course, by the way, you haven't updated this map in a while because, of course, as we know, there's no Las Vegas. But we are going to Las Vegas for Double or Nothing, bringing it back to where it all began for AEW. And then we are doing our first ever West Coast Dynamite and Rampage, which will be great.
Wait, was
but
that
that's probably breaking news. I think I've said like loosely that we're coming out to the West Coast around Double or Nothing though. And do you want to know where Beach Break 2022
Oh, it's in
is gonna
Tampa.
be?
It's in Tampa.
You haven't guessed. You still haven't guessed, and he's had so many guesses.
It's in Tampa.
No.
You said it's an NFL
See, they don't
city.
get any respect for their beaches. This proves my point.
Well, this doesn't make sense because there's not that many. There's not that many cities that are NFL cities that are on the beach.
Well, there are.
Up here?
Ladies and gentlemen, January 26th, we will bring Beach Break 2022 to Cleveland, Ohio. The Wolstein Center, minutes away from the lovely beaches of Cleveland, Ohio, Lake Erie, the great beaches. It's minutes from the arena. It's legit. Google it. There's beaches. It's great. And January 26th, Beach Break. They deserve it. They deserve it. Trust me. Cleveland Beach Break. It's going to be great.
Kind of made me look like an asshole there.
Why? It's great. It's going to be, I promise, a great show.
No, it'll be a great show. It'll be a great show.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be cold.
Yeah, well, we have a great time. It's cold here. We're in. It's it's
What
cold.
else are we doing?
Yeah.
So Beach Break 2022 is going to be in Cleveland, Ohio, the notorious beach town of Cleveland, Ohio. I can't tell you how many times I've taken the surfboard out in Lake Erie and just woo.
Well, it's minutes from the Wolstein Center. You could walk there. It's like I think it's just a few miles.
Oh, I bet it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's no more than I think at most a 10-minute ride out there. So it's nice.
So 2022. Been an interesting start to 2022 for you guys, and huge week here. Huge week. A lot of things going on for you. So what's up in 2022?
It's going to be a huge year for us. We've expanded the roster so much. Like I said, it's a more competitive roster than it's ever been, and it's a more diverse roster than it's ever been. And just look at the signings the last couple weeks. The last two wrestlers we've announced coming in.
Yeah.
Mercedes Martinez, and then of course just in the last 24 hours,
Jake
Atlas. What a great tryout match he had with Serpentico. You want to hear a fact here for the first time?
Sure, I've heard facts before.
His WWE tryout match was also with Serpentico.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, with John Cruz. Yeah. Oh, not that John Cruz is Serpentico. Sorry. But they're two guys. And so then we have, a great wrestler coming in Mercedes Martinez, who, like I said, unfortunately or fortunately played a big role in Jade Cargill advancing to the TBS Championship tonight against Ruby Soho and stopping that kind of rematch at the end of All Out, that Thunder Rosa Ruby Soho clash from happening again. But we built this roster, and to bring in Mercedes Martinez and Jake Atlas, and I have some huge plans for 2022 that have been a long time in the making, and then I have some huge plans for 2022 to build a stronger, more diverse representation across the board, and nobody knows what it is yet, but I have a couple really exciting things that are going to be coming up in the next month, 6 weeks.
You can tell me.
No, it's going to be really good. And it's been stuff that's been a long time planned, and it's going to be awesome, but there's also some stuff that just kind of came up, to be honest with you, that it's going to be pretty dope.
But before we get out of here, I know we're out of time. Me and MJF are great friends.
Well, MJF's going to be in action tonight.
That's fine.
MJF in action. We haven't talked about, of course, Malachi Black, Brian Pillman. What a promo from Brian Pillman Jr.
Promo.
What a promo in Jacksonville, in his new hometown. He's, of course, also a Cincinnati kid, but he's lived with us down in Jacksonville so long. He moved down there. He had family down there. And Brian getting a chance to avenge both Julia Hart and Griff Garrison, Varsity Blondes, against Malachi Black tonight. And MJF in action, which is rare pleasure to get MJF in action on Dynamite. We don't get that very often, MJF wrestling on Dynamite, so it's a big deal. And it's he's your good friend, but let's be honest, he doesn't wrestle on the show very often.
No, he doesn't.
He does. A lot of great things for the show. I'm very close with him also. He's a great guy to me, not to anybody else. But to you, not so great, but you consider him a good friend, and there's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people that he's not that nice to, but they say he's their friend, which is interesting. And you're one of them.
He's probably gonna be the best man at my wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know.
Plus, he broke my marriage up.
I'm sorry to hear that. Are you okay?
Nah. Anyway, that is Tony Khan, All Elite Wrestling President Tony Khan. He is the fucking best. AEW is the best. Gigantic week of shows tonight in Newark. You've got Dynamite on TBS. You've got Rampage on Friday night, and you have the Battle of the Belts Saturday Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Handshake. That's it.